Hey, Wixman Ray here, or also known as Weatherman Ray. Hey, today is, what is this, Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. So I'm showing you here the satellite. If most of you that watch know what this is our RGB satellite, our weather satellite here. So pretty active. That we're looking over the North Pacific here. A pretty active pattern going on. You see a big low pressure over the Bering Sea up by Alaska. This is a frontal boundary moving through Alaska. Then that front kind of stretches all the way down south here. I think yeah, that's kind of northeast of Hawaii. Hawaii's down here. And so, yeah, very active, very stormy through this part. And it looks like maybe another storm coming in the picture coming off of Japan and that part of the world. Anyways, and then, but closer to home here, we got this low pressure sitting off the coast of California, bringing you got a kind of a cold front coming here, draped across the Pacific. Looks like the tail end's near Hawaii. I think it was yesterday we showed you all the rain that was over there, so it looks like that's starting to clear up. But yeah, so they had some pretty active weather down there. And a lot of cloud cover moving into the Great Basin, into Nevada, Utah, parts of Colorado. Um, so that's what's going on there on the satellite. You can't see the eastern half very well, but because this is we call this the goes west. It's kind of centered over the equator, farther over this direction, somewhere. I don't know exactly where it's centered, but it's near the equator, up in the sky. So. Yeah, and then we got a system here. This is a little disturbance that's moving through Texas and through the south with some spotty precipitation, and we'll show that to you later. Um, just so you can kind of see this, if you're farther east here, I'll give you the same vantage point here. Let's see, let's just do this. So yeah, so that's that storm. So yeah, it's getting dark out here. That's why it's starting to turn red here. The sun's starting to set across the eastern part of the United States. But we got this little clipper system moving through the northeast with some, I believe there's some light snow. We'll look at the observations here in a minute. Yeah, otherwise that's about it in the way of storms across the area for, um, I guess if you're up in Canada, this clipper has got a low pressure up with it over this part of the world. Was this around Quebec, I think? I don't remember the provinces up here, so excuse me. But somewhere up here, that Montreal's maybe somewhere in that general area. Don't know. I'm not real. I'm not real well versed on the geography of Canada. I hate to say that, but I've never lived up there. So I know Alaska well, and the United States, and Europe, and Korea. In my military days, I was over there doing weather. So, anyways, that's enough of me jabbering on about that. So, this is our surface observations with the radar overlaid. So, we're looking at California here. We got some rain coming on the coast. Looks like mostly light rain for the most part. So, nothing that's going to probably cause any major issues across California, and it's really not reaching Southern California yet. That I think that'll start happening more towards the weekend, where the southern part might get in on the action of the rain. A little bit of precip up into Nevada. Um, it's pretty light. Some of it's probably hitting the ground as light rain. It's pretty warm, so it's all going to be rain. It's in the 40s and 50s back here. Um, Back in California, 50s and then 60s as you go south. Real warm in Phoenix and out in this general area in almost 80. Tucson 76, 65 in Vegas, so not too bad there. Maybe just have to wear a light jacket if the winds are blowing. Um, yeah, Salt Lake City 45. Quiet up in the Pacific Northwest part and into the northern Rockies, 40s and 50s back here. So relatively mild for the first half of February. We got some warm weather in New Mexico, some 60s and 70s. Here's that system we showed you. So we got some rain, mostly moderate, not moderate, light rain for the most part. don't really see a lot of thunderstorm activity in that. So you got some clouds and rain back here through West Texas, and then maybe a little bit in southern Oklahoma. If that's reaching the ground, that's pretty weak returns. This stuff down here is just what they call Virgo. It's not reaching the ground. This is probably Virgo out here too. I mean, there could be some light showers and some of these heavier returns in Tennessee here, but yeah, really not too much to write home about. Um, kind of show you something here. This is where the cold front is, and the reason why I can tell you that is you got these north winds, right? 50s, 50s up north of it, and 70s. So you got the south wind and the north wind, and so the front's kind of somewhere, in this general area, and then it runs up here because you got those north winds up here. If I zoom in, you can probably see it even better. Yeah, so yeah, you see Fort Smith 75 and 60s up in Springfield. So there's a cold front through here. Pretty dry. It's not got a lot of moisture to work with, although, it's getting enough energy out here to produce some showers. So yeah, pretty warm across the southeast, 70s. A little bit cooler out here at Atlanta, 67, but not bad. 70s even into the Carolinas. So all that snow, I'm sure all that snow is probably gone by now. Florida's looking nice, 70s for the most part across all of Florida. Um, then we got, yeah, it's even 60s all the way up into West Virginia, parts of Southern Virginia. 50s up here in the mid 40s by DC area, it looks like 30s and 40s up in Pennsylvania. All through the plains back here. Look at that. I mean, 40s and 50s. It's really nice for February. The colder air is up here, and even this is not that bad. I mean, it's 20s and 30s. This is probably close to average for up here. Nothing Arctic, anyways. Then you got that little clipper moving through New York and parts of the Northeast back here. Looks like you got some. Looks like a couple areas are warm enough for rain. Buffalo and Rochester. They're in the mid to upper 30s, some light rain, and then you got some snow back by Syracuse. So a lot of this is snow. There's some probably rain mixed in, depending on the temperatures. But the farther east you go, you're getting into these 20s and low 30s. So a lot of light snow out here. So probably get a few inches there in some areas where they get those, these moderate bands that you're seeing in here if they last long enough. So yeah, that's really it. That's what's going on. So let's go ahead. What was I going to show you? We'll go ahead and look at the upper level, kind of the middle. We'll call this the middle part of the atmosphere. This is our 500 millibar, 18,000 feet above sea level. I wanted to show you this. I've showed you this before. Um, this just gives you an idea where the storms are going to be, where they're coming from, anyways. Let's go back in time here. Okay, so this is today. This is that low you see out off the coast of California, and then this is all these colors here is vorticity that's causing the clouds and precip out here, and then you also got this little wave of low pressure moving across Texas here that we saw where we saw that the showers, and then you see this stuff up here in the northeast too. There's a little dip. It's called a trough of low pressure. So. And kind of a ridge kind of moving through the Intermountain West right now. And so that's why the weather there is pretty dry, even though there's some clouds out there. It's what we call kind of a dirty ridge, I guess, transitory type feature. So as we move into tonight through Wednesday, looking at the West Coast, most of the energy, I mean, it slowly moves on shore. The low pressure over California, and then some of the energy moves up into southern Idaho and northern Utah. But that ridge is kind of keeping it at bay, so it's kind of staying out in this part of the world for at least through Wednesday. This little feature here is what's left of this. It's really weakening as it moves across. So probably by tomorrow there probably won't be much precipitation left. Maybe a couple spotty showers, but really it's starting to weaken as it moves to the east. And in this system, you'll still see some lingering effects. You still got some low pressure up in the northeast here, so probably some lingering snow out there through tomorrow. Um, but we'll look at the surface here in a minute. So this is going through the night on Wednesday into Thursday. So you can see this stuff in the northeast has moved out. Another little wave of, we call it a short wave trough, that moving through there. Probably just mainly going to be clouds. There might be some spotty precipitation, but really kind of a weak feature. And then we see this strong low pressure now by Thursday is, pivoting south a little bit. And you can start seeing it's going to start bringing more energy to Southern California. And then you kind of see the energy extends up into Utah, parts of Colorado, even Wyoming, and Idaho and Nevada. So chances of precipitation out there, probably there'll be some cloud cover for sure. And then as we go towards the weekend here, so this is Friday afternoon, evening here. So this whole low pressure system is moving out into the southwest near probably Arizona there, the center anyways. But you see all this energy is moving out towards Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and not much out here. This stuff here is really just associated with the jet stream, so you're not going to really, you might get some high clouds with it, but not a whole lot of this precipitation with anything like that. Got this weak little feature moving through Wyoming there too. A little bit of energy trying to poke into the Pacific Northwest by the weekend, by Friday. And then Saturday, this is our big system we were looking at yesterday. It's starting to, models are coming into a little bit better agreement with this system, and it may track a little farther. It's taking that southern route like the GFS had yesterday. If that's the case, we might not see as much severe weather. Friday and Saturday might be your best days. By Sunday, it looks like it's too far south into, this part of the world to, it just won't line up good for severe weather. But we'll see. We'll see what happens on Friday and Saturday. So yeah, you can see the low pressure setting over West Texas, and energy extends out to the east, and that's through. This is going into Sunday morning, and you see how it's tracking south here. So this kind of setup here by Sunday. This is Sunday afternoon. It's sitting over, central part of Louisiana. I don't really. That's not going to be a good severe weather threat. There could be some thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast here, in this general area, but the farther north you go, you're not going to have you're not going to have the right ingredients for, severe thunderstorms. You might get some thunderstorms out here, but yeah, it's just not looking real favorable. This is a little more favorable, at least for maybe Texas and Louisiana. Maybe, about where the low pressure lines up is probably going to be your northern extent. That's a general rule of thumb when you look at this level, for the most part, not all the time, but yeah. So yeah, Sunday that thing dips south, and then this is Monday. It's already down into the Gulf, and then moving through South Florida by Monday night into Tuesday of next week. And then you see there's a lot of action. This is pretty active out west. We'll have that brief break out west after this goes through, but by the end of the weekend, by Sunday, late Saturday into Sunday, all this energy comes in, and next week, look at that, a wave of stronger storms. This will probably bring some heavier precipitation, especially to California and the Sierras. Might get some pretty good snow out of these next couple systems early next week. And you can see this is all the way through. This is Wednesday here. Looks like it'll start pushing east by Thursday. So, Monday through, starting Sunday through Wednesday, could be pretty active across California and Intermountain West. And then as we get into later next week, that'll start pushing into the northern and central plains. But so, yeah, got pretty long-winded on that, but I wanted to show you that. It looks pretty active. That's the kind of the idea. That's what's happening here as we head into almost the middle of February by next week. Okay, so this is our surface. We got our sea level pressure with the low pressure sitting, off the coast of California here. Got some rain. The blue, to remind you, is where there's going to be snow. So up in the Sierra Mountains, Sierras, there's going to be snowing. A little bit of spotty snow out here. This is today, actually this evening. So yeah. Otherwise, there's going to be some spotty showers along this front as we move through Texas and up to Kentucky and maybe even parts of West Virginia. There's the snow up in the Northeast continuing through this evening, through tonight. You can see this kind of spreads inland, the rain and snow. Once again, the snow levels are going to be generally above 5,000 feet. They could drop near 5,000 feet at night if the temperatures drop, enough at night. Otherwise, yeah, mostly rain in the valleys, at least the valleys below five, five, four, below 6 or 5,000 feet or so. Check your local forecast if you want to know the details. I don't have time to go into all that, but that's the general idea. And then the higher elevations, generally above 6,000 feet, you're going to see chances of snow in this part of the country, um, especially at night. Anyways, okay, I'm getting long-winded here. Yeah, the lingering snow through tomorrow. It looks like as we go into Thursday, that kind of dries out. Still a little cool up here, but nothing out of the ordinary. You can see this is on Thursday. It starts to dry out here in California, but some lingering precipitation across, our Salt Lake, the Wasatch Mountains up into parts of Colorado. And that kind of wimps out by Friday. And then this is where we're going to see this start developing. So we're looking at Friday here. So we got some rain breaking out. Probably some high mountain snows here in this desert southwest. Might even be some thunderstorms, mainly out towards eastern New Mexico, West Texas. There probably might be some into Oklahoma here if enough. Yeah, it looks, especially as we go into Friday night. So there could be some thunderstorms out here. Um, Hard to say if they'll be severe at this point. Saturday might be the favorable day at this point. Have to watch that. Back Pacific Northwest gets back in on the action on Friday with some rain. Little clipper there going through the Northeast again. It looks like as we was that Friday, late Friday into Saturday. Yeah, but here we go. We're on Saturday, so let's go back a little bit. This is midday Saturday, so you've got a good setup. A lot of precipitation. You'll see rain all through here. It's too warm for anything other than rain. I would say a good chance of thunderstorms across, at least the eastern half, maybe from Oklahoma, maybe even a little farther west, Oklahoma City. But, in this general area down through Texas, a chance of thunderstorms. I would still say you can't rule out at least a few severe. I don't think this is going to be a severe outbreak type situation, but I think there could be some severe thunderstorms. So, yeah, and then, yeah, so, and that'll press east. This is going through the late Saturday into Saturday night. So, yeah, I mean, there could be some heavier rain too with some of them storms, just picking up that moisture off the Gulf. And so, but yeah, it looks like a warm system, so mainly all rain. Still a chance of some thunder, maybe some strong thunderstorms Saturday night, maybe even some severe weather. This is where it kind of transitions. I think as we go into Sunday morning, um, there might be some lingering thunderstorms out here across the south and the Gulf Coast, but I think the severe weather threat kind of disappears. You just see all the leftover rain showers up through the north, through the Carolinas and Virginia, and back through Tennessee and Kentucky over the end of the weekend. And then as we go into Monday, it's going to be wet for Florida, maybe a few thunderstorms down there. Lingering rain back here in parts of the Carolinas. And then as we head into Tuesday, it dries out. So that's pretty much it. That's as far as I'll go for the East Coast. Then you kind of see this. So yeah, we're looking at Sunday morning here. So it's starting to come into on the coast Sunday, late Sunday across California. And then there we go. I mean, we're looking at, Monday morning across southern, even all the way down to Southern California. They can get in on the rain, a lot of snow, it looks like for the Sierras. So if you're driving Truckee past there, be aware there might be some issues with the pass there at Truckee. Yeah, and then you see that it progresses inland. So this is going to be a strong enough one where we're going to probably see some snow and some rain across the, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, even up into the north. So this one's a strong system, it looks like. And then that kind of takes kind of a north turn. It may get into North Dakota by Tuesday, but most of it's going to be combined to the Rockies up into Montana. So yeah, but once again, the snow levels will probably be generally above 5,000 feet, 5 to 6,000 feet, for the most part. Yeah, as we go through this is already Wednesday morning, so it's still pretty active out here. And then Thursday, that system moves out. And it looks like that's when the cooler air will settle in too, as we get by early next week, this stronger low pressure system will draw on a little bit colder air to where if there's lingering precip, it'll be all snow. So kind of see that. So yeah, so uh, bottom line is the South, especially for Texas, Oklahoma, into the Arklatex, I would say Arkansas, Louisiana, maybe parts of Mississippi. Best stratosphere weather, mainly on Saturday, into Saturday night. That's my best guess right now. The Storm Prediction Center doesn't have anything out. They haven't bid on anything, but that's what still 4 days out. So we'll see what they do. But we'll update you tomorrow. That's all I've got. I had one more thing. Yeah, I haven't showed you the snow in a while. We did have that system that went through yesterday that brought some snow. So yeah, there was some pretty good snow up, and there was some, 8, 9. This is mainly in the higher elevations, parts of Idaho here. And a few other places had light reports. This is in the mountains of Oregon, 10 inches. Yeah, most of the snow was out in Montana. They had, looks like lower elevations had maybe 3 to 5 or 6 inches, and then up higher up, 6 to 12 or a little bit higher, 16 there. So looks like a couple inches there in that little spot, a couple inches there. So yeah, I did see some out east here, way up in that UP of Michigan where we saw that clipper going through. 2 there, 3.5 there. I think that's right along the border, 5.5. So yeah, they got a few inches there. Probably tomorrow we'll see several inches reported up here. All right. Well, that's it from Wixman Ray. This is we had a lot to say, so have a great week, and we will talk to you again tomorrow. That's the plan, anyways. Wixman Ray out.